Okay, welcome people, welcome to the stream. I guess today we're gonna mostly do reconnaissance with AXIOM, mostly because today at morning I tried setting up shadow clone. I had issues once again, so I guess that's gonna be like for the separate stream, but for this time we're gonna check AXIOM. I think I gonna pick up one target which has like huge IP ranges and a lot of subdomains, basically wide scope, and I will show the capabilities of this orchestration tool where you can like very quickly gather a lot of recon data. So this will help you to save your time. Of course, don't focus too much on recon. You should spend as least as possible. So that's why I prefer using orchestration tools like this. I have already set everything up, but I will just probably show you the target what I picked for this. So I picked the Dell Technologies application bug bounty. So the Dell target has some things in place. So basically in the scope there is Dell and Dell Technologies, all the wildcard subdomains, and also in the scope any verified Dell controlled endpoint, so domains and IP range basically. So the Dell is really big company, so they have their own ASN assigned, so it's gonna be pretty interesting target to look on. There are certain things that are out of scope, like many XSS on some like Dell.com targets, some console on Dell Technologies, Educate, like mostly consoles, and they actually are asking to have this username, like have this header everywhere. I only use header usually when manually testing, since like for doing recon we won't do anything intrusive. That's why maybe I will add this later if I like try to dive in more into the application. Usually I just set this up on the Burp Suite. But yeah, so since setting everything up, like spinning the instances for the AXIOM will take some time, let me firstly create the fleet of like 15 instances and let's call it Dell. Wait. Oh, I need to put the Dell before the flag, so like this. Yeah, it will get 15 instances starting with Dell. And it will take around 6 or so minutes for around this much of servers to spin up. As you can see, the names are getting popped in. So in the meantime, we can basically read the program policy. What we should not do, what is not allowed. This is really important. For example, for submissions regarding GitHub credentials, all findings will be initially rated as P5. Once finding has been determined to have real impact, it will be upgraded accordingly. So if you find GitHub leaks or something, not all the time you should expect get critical. Sometimes those could be like informational ones. They're basically saying that. It's beneficial to include the sensitive information in your finding along with the link to help speed up validation process. Yeah, every time you submit certain leak, you want to show the impact. For example, what is being leaked, add screenshots, not only like paste the code. The screenshots are very helpful for the triagers. Okay. Yeah, so the websites that are not mentioned will be marked as P5, basically informationals as well. Yeah, so as we can see, it will take 300 seconds or even more to get everything ready. So for that, what I actually like to do before like diving in is preparing a little bit. So I will just create the directory first, just call it del, and right here just create wildcards txt file where I will put what is in the scope. So I will just write del and del technologies, and then while this is running I will also use subfinder silent mode, maybe dl wildcards. I have subfinder configuration file already ready, so I will just run this. And once I start getting some subdomains, also very good idea is actually to paste those subdomains in the GitHub. So for example, just pick any random subdomain and just paste it in the GitHub. So as you can see, some people have this data already prepared somewhere. So for example, let's go, it's right here. So what we can do basically, I think they forked from TreeCast inventory, like that was 2 years ago. That data is pretty old, but still we can I guess download it, like do curl command maybe and do inu to host names. Yeah, some of those were even added to my subfinder list. Other thing what you can use to get even more subdomains besides of like DNS brute force, I won't do DNS brute forcing, but there is tool called get domains, I think, or something like that, or GitHub domains, how that tool is called. Basically the tool which actually gather domains, subdomains from the GitHub. So you can use this tool, but basically what I recommend is just like catting out host names and pasting some in the GitHub and see the code, and then like try to fetch those files, like withdraw content, like use curl command, like use s for silent and use a new to host names. Okay, we can see there is no new host names. So this is the way how you can get a lot of host names. Of course, not all of those will resolve, not all of those will be alive per se. We have around 31,000, but I think 1 or 2,000 will only be available for us. So other thing what you can do is go to I think this website, BHP or I will just use Google. Okay, this one, yeah, this one, bgp.net. So I will just write del, and I will just want to look for del incorporated, so like this. Maybe this will help. No, I think the comma does some weird stuff for us. So what we can do is just open those ASNs which has del inside, and I will just gather only those, or alternatively what we can also do, we can just copy the CDRs like this. It will be even easier for us, I guess. So those are just the IP ranges that belongs to Dell Incorporated. So let's call it C for now. And I will cat C, and I will just need only those. So it will be the first line. So let's print the first line. Okay. Let's filter out United and save all that to this file. So just remove C, and we have a lot of IPs. I think all of those are unique, but we can check if those are unique. Yeah, those are unique. And we can see that AXIOM is also ready to run. So what I will do, I will open just another tab at the top, which will be meant only for AXIOM modules, just in case if I need to change something. And right here, I will just run some commands just to check if some of those host names are alive or not. So I will do AXIOM scan for host names, and I will just use, let me think, I will just use HTTPX. Let's see the HTTPX module itself. So, okay, so it is just a default module, so I will just use like status code, title, follow redirects, content length. Let's see what other options we have. I want to have as much options as possible. Okay, content length, maybe content type will also work. Favicon, title, I don't think I need favicon, but if I do even extensive recon, having favicon hash is pretty good as well. I don't need the screenshot, matchers, extractor, filters, threads, maybe just use less threads. Not sure if it's gonna trigger firewall or not. Let's keep it like this. I need some extra ports, so let's check for ports. Yeah, this is the ports. So for the ports I want 80, 81, maybe 82. I will just use some common ones like this, 80, 80, 80, 81. Those I guess are common ports. Maybe 3000 also pretty common one. And maybe I will just have some retries, like free retries in case something bad could happen. And I will save everything to the httpx.txt file. Yeah, and I'm gonna run the scan. It's running. Okay. It's gonna update HTTPX because I just used the older version. So, and in the meanwhile, while we are getting alive host names, what we can do is to like convert those to real IPs. I think I have the command for that. So this, let me quickly check. Yeah, I think this command will do the job. So when you have a lot of CDRs, you can use xargs with this command line utility, and you will basically, this will be converted to the IPs file. So if I run this, you can see that a lot of IPs will be generated. So if I check how many IPs we have from those IP ranges, there are a lot of those. But it doesn't mean that every one of that will have all all the ports open. It could be some like one random port open and that's it. So for those IPs you can do some port scan. On the stream I won't do this. I might just check. I might send some like HTTP request and see if that's possible to access those. So yeah, this is the thing what I want to do. Okay, let me check the chat first. Is this a recon session? Yeah, this will be the recon session. I have announced it on multiple sites. How much you pay for AXIOM? It's it depends on how much I'm using it. So basically I explained almost on every recon session. Like this answer I get all the time, so just check other recon sessions and you will get the answer most likely. Stream is lagging. Okay, let me check the connection real quick. Yeah, it's showing what it's a bit unstable. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I guess on YouTube the stream is running fine. Okay, it gone back to normal. It's because I think I'm using a little bit of internet, but if I start doing some port scans, it definitely could disrupt the stream. So I won't do this for multiple reasons actually. So this is just information gathering session. Do you use HackerDNS tool for resolving IPs? I haven't tried this one actually. I'm just using port scanning tools for the IPs mostly. So yeah, usually that will be enough. Yeah, and for the most part, those will get 403 errors, most of those, and some of those might get you like redirected. So for example, this one will redirect you to the main page. Yeah, but having a lot of recon data is actually good. Sometimes you might get some endpoints which doesn't actually have HTML, but they might be some kinda APIs, so it could be application JSON data. Okay. Not sure why this is running real slow, because I think that's because it's using a lot of flags for HTTPX. Like alternatively, you can use like bigger servers for AXIOM to run even better, or you can try HTTP probe. This one looks interesting because it uses Apache Tomcat, but for the target as Dell, it will be most likely no issues with Tomcat, but we can quickly check. Like if I go here, basically we'll just try clicking multiple things. What you can do is do some directory brute force as well. I might use another tab like ffuf, like this, and you can do some fuzzing, like one list for all, small or like short. Or firstly I would just use micro. Yeah, but this is very heavy on network, so I won't do this on the stream, but you can basically use that to check it's what's going on as well. And while we are waiting, actually, other good idea is to check if there are certain like other things could be found on GitHub as well. So I will just go to GitHub as well, and for the Dell, like what I can do, I could also like cat out the host names, just pick any random host name, paste it to the search, and see like right here, for example, if I go one directory back, you can see that previously there was URLs gathered for this from this, and we don't actually need to do a lot of crawling for the target because people already did that before us, but we can do on the top in case we can like find some extra IPs. Not sure why this is not loading. Oh, because I think this one doesn't have anything in it, but this one, for example, let me click raw. Yeah, you can see a lot of data, a lot of like different endpoints. Maybe not all of those will be resolving, but it's pretty interesting to gather data like this. So I will just copy this and also try to download using, well, I could use wget right now. So like this, and see how many you have until 4. So 1, we can download all of those. 2, and back in the day there was like Trickest inventory or something like this, where it is, Trickest inventory. I will show you the project on the GitHub. I just write Trickest. This is actually a pretty decent tool. If you are like very visual person, this might be the tool for you if you want to do monitoring stuff. This is really good tool actually. I just want to go to their like top directory. Yeah, inventory. So this is like they have around 800 public bug bounty programs. Let's search for Dell. Right now they removed it, but as you can see, previously some people have forked it. And if you just go to any program like AT&T, for example, you can see right now they only have DNS report, hostname, server report, and servers. So there won't be too much data gathered. Hostnames will be the same, I guess, as we have. Yeah, this one I'm not sure what it is. DNS reports. So as you can see, there is not too much data. Maybe the hostnames is valuable, but what you can do is check the history and, for example, go 1 year back at like December or something. Okay, let me check, like from August to December. Let's check those type of commits. And I will just go to the any commit, view commit details, browse files. Yeah, I just want to browse files on that like 1 year before and see if I have Dell back then. Okay, they don't have Dell. Okay, let's see. Let's maybe go back even 1 year further. Okay, just open this one and browse files. Do they have Dell right now? All right, right here they have Dell like 2 years ago, as you can see. And back in the day, they used to crawl a lot of URLs and save to the files. But right now they are not doing this. There is even Spider. I think those URLs are gathered from GauTool, but Spider, I think they used Hawkroller or something like that. So we can also download the Spider as well. So we will have like pretty decent data to work on. Yeah, Rakuten, maybe not all of that is valuable for us. So let's grab only Dell. And we want to remove those at the beginning probably, because it's not that actually interesting for us. Let's see. Okay, IDOR. I think like this. Yeah, like this, and I will save everything to URLs maybe. Let's see. Hopefully I won't crash the PC for now. Okay, URLs. Let's see how many URLs we have in total. There are a lot of those, around 1 million. So in this case we can use AXIOM as well, like to check which some of those are alive or not. But before doing that, we can save even more time. So like you can see a lot of URLs, but some of those is like this one and this one may look very similar because maybe just some values are different. So we can use the tool called URL dedupe, I think this one, and we can save it using T command and like URL deduped. Let's save it to that file. Alright, so if we check URLs deduped, we have around way less URLs. So, and even from those URLs, like 67,000 URLs, not all of those gonna resolve for sure. So what we can do is actually to use the HTTP probe on them. So yeah, but I see the AXIOM is still running on those targets. They're actually gathering a lot of data. That's why they're running a bit slower. What I like about certain flag, what's like following redirects, sometimes it might redirect you to the other page where you actually need to register. So like sign in and login pages where you see like sign in or login are very interesting for you to check for authentication bypasses. So you have to keep those in your notes. If you, for example, find some leaked credential for some employee or something, you want to check only login sites or maybe even APIs. So yeah, application JSON, for example, this is like API we can see. And sometimes even you can even find API secrets. And if you find one secret and you're not sure where you can use that, I suggest like going back to your targets and just trying all across those different targets that same token, like where the API is. So some like right here you can see you got 400 type of error, but maybe, just maybe, using that token what like previously found, you can try on that endpoint. So it is like a puzzle, like it comes from very different places, and if you assemble pieces, sometimes the vulnerability starts appearing. All right. How do you confirm resolved URLs in the case of large data set like 67,000K? No, it's actually 67K. So, oh yeah. So yeah, I will just use HTTP probe or just HTTPX. Right now it's this is still running, but I will just skip that because I don't want to like spend whole stream doing this. So for example, this URLs deduped, you can use AXIOM scan. So this time let's use HTTP probe. So it is kinda older tool than HTTPX, but just for the job of like validating if those are alive or not, it works pretty good. So just pass those URLs deduped, and I will just use module HTTP probe and use a new. Let's save them to the alive, for example, to this file. Okay. Yeah, you can see some of them are mail too. So actually, in this way, from those URLs, you can leak a lot of emails. So for example, like we can see URLs like this, right? So what we can do, we can try grabbing mail to protocol, because I think some crawlers do also crawl this. Oh, sorry, like this. And we can use sed function and just remove that mail too. And right now, if we sort them out as well and see, we have 19 emails, so we can save that to the emails txt, and later on we can use those emails to check for some weak credentials. So for example, if I go to GitHub once again, there is sec lists, our favorite word list. It has many stars, and it's being updated quite often. So for example, passwords, and let's see, top, this one is quite old. Maybe let's see the common passwords. We need just the common passwords, like common credentials, common corporate passwords. So we can try any of those word lists. For example, let's see. Okay, so with each of that email gathered, of course we can gather even more emails, there are way more methods. When we find the login forms on like some kind of like on those, okay, that's kinda not intended way how it works. Let's see. Okay, I only got those, so I made a mistake here. Let's check what we have for URL deduped. Okay, we can run under AXIOM, so instead of HTTP probe, we just use HTTPX, use silent, and use MC200, and no color. Let's try using HTTPX instead of HTTP probe, and we will see. So yeah, you can gather the emails and use like top 100, for example, passwords, and just like from HTTPX try to see if there is sign, there is login, maybe register or something like that, those words, and just go to, for example, is this is being redirected, just go right here, like go right here, and what you can do is try to log in, for example, del user, the username. So if you see the username, what you can do is, instead of having emails, you can, for example, convert them to the username. So I will just use sed. to remove @del at the end. So for example, like this. Wait for it. Come on, too many mistakes. Oh, and like save that to the usernames txt. So we have usernames. We have, for example, password from here. And what you can do is try to use those emails or usernames with those common passwords. So usually before even doing that, you have to check their policy about brute forcing if they have some kind of limitation on requests. So okay. Excluded. Login or forgot password brute force, account locked, not enforce insufficient password strength requirements. So they actually don't allow to brute force, so that's kind of bummer. But on some programs, before doing something serious, you have to check what is allowed and what's not. So it's actually not allowed, so I won't do this. And of course I'm streaming, this is just a recon. So but I'm just like saying what it could be possible to do. And of course that's on you, that's not on me. You're on your own to do this, but like I want to emphasize that you have to follow certain rules, because you might get disqualified if you don't follow them, for sure. So yeah, but on some programs they might say if you spot some weak credentials and if you are able to log into admin panel, that in that case I guess it could be violate a high or critical vulnerability. So, and it's way easier than like doing some more complex stuff like SQL injection, like any other vulnerability basically. So yeah, we can see that using HTTPX we can get way more results. Some of those looks kinda interesting, pack logs. I don't want to open those. All right, maybe some of you saw that during the stream and want to try, but I won't do this on the stream. Just you know, I don't want to find bug. That could be a really bad thing for me. But yeah, what you can do, you also want maybe filter out some images, maybe filter out the certain extensions, not only images like GIFs, maybe MP3 files, MP4, unless on some of those images there could be very sensitive data. I think I saw one post by one person which actually found sensitive info on image file, like ID card of employee or something like that. So yeah, sometimes it could work to try, but usually that will be rarely the case. And also look for interesting parameters. For example, redirect URL. I might want to test for open redirects on here. JavaScript files, if it's not min.js, if it's like normal JS files, you might want to try to search for leaks for those. But right here I'm just collecting a lot of data, sometimes even like txt files. For downloads.del, I highly doubt that it will be something sensitive. I guess this subdomain, it makes sense that they gonna include, but it's meant to be public. So not sure about this one. Linux repo, this one I think is also like downloads, so it won't be many sensitive files. But what also other things what you can do, you can try to download some kind of binary files like drivers, exe files, updaters or something like that, and you can try little bit of reverse engineering on those binary files and try to see if there are certain links being accessible, so for example certain endpoints, and for example, if those endpoints does not require any authentication and they're basically being accessed by anyone, basically, there could be potential areas to test for remote code execution. You have to be good with reverse engineering. So there are ways how you can do that. I'm not really good at that, but I know that some people are doing this as well. Okay, dot sign. I'm not sure what it is, this extension, release notes. But yeah, after like getting all of those, you might want to filter out what's not really interesting. As I said, like PNG, GPG files, not really interesting. Certain JavaScript files also maybe not that interesting. Maybe jQuery, it's not. But yeah, as I said, like XC files on downloads, I recommend checking those. For just try to do some reverse engineering. You have to look this one for yourself, but you might find some interesting things here. And also do not like instantly skip those, because many people are skipping those, while others, very smart hackers, are actually looking into those and they're managing to find some interesting stuff. Okay, what else? Some zip files, also firmware, download. So I guess that is also meant for. Okay, this one looks interesting, just for curiosity. Okay, it's not actually resolving, not sure why it's showing me here. So yeah, that's basically the most stuff what you can do. So for those IPs as well, we have a lot of IPs. What you want to do is either to do port scanning or as well like run HTTPX to check which one of those are alive IPs and which ones are not. And also check the titles, check the content length, check like many stuff. Like you can see right here, I'm checking the title, the content type, the content length, status code, all of those. And also I'm following redirect, so I recommend doing those also on the IPs. And then from those IPs you want to look for API endpoints, login pages, or maybe the main applications as well. So those should be the most interesting targets for you. And what you can do once on their websites, you want probably to crawl. Like before even crawling, you can like try to use Go tool. Maybe like for this, for example, I will try echo it out and use Go tool just for this endpoint. Yeah, so usually the Go works best when you just use the root domain and just with subs flag. So this is how you should use, or you can use vmore. Vmore is way better. And also it's not necessarily to use vmore with AXIOM. I just use AXIOM to quickly resolve a lot of subdomains or URLs. But you can also use this with like mass crawling, but you have to use very don't use the very simple servers like 1 GB and 1 RAM servers. You have to use a little bit better servers, at least 2 or even 4 GB of RAM and 4 CPU cores. In that case, the crawlers will work the best if you are using the headless mode. Like for example, Katana, it has a headless mode. So if you use with headless, and if you also use some GS crawling, it will consume a lot of memory, especially a lot of CPU memory. I was doing this weekend and almost fried my CPU, but that was not Katana's fault, it was my CPU actually. So yeah, so you can use many flags like form extraction and form filling with Katana, but in case if you want to use like one gigabyte and one CPU core, like this type of setup, in this case you can use hack roller and go spider, those type of tools. So I think I have go spider. Yeah, I'm using these type of settings. You can like modify it by your case. For example, you can go depth of 5, it will go way more deeply. The threads, how many threads you want, or maybe not. Let me check. Go spider. What those actually mean. The T flag means, okay, let me grab the T flag and see. Oh, it's a timeout. Oh, no, threads. That actually means threads. And what does C mean? The concurrency. Okay, so you can like try different settings, but you have to check on your instances as well. So if I do AXIOM SSH and for example just go to the first Dell instance, try to SSH into that, and if I try to run htop, I can see that even though I'm running HTTPX, it's not actually consuming too much memory, because I know that's running in parallel, so it's nothing really crazy. So I can use even other AXIOM scans while those are actually running. So for example, let's use for wildcards. The wildcards are just 2 domains, so if I use AXIOM scan for wildcards, for example, I could check Go, for instance. And for Go, what I want to do, I want to exclude like use subs. I want to, let's check. So like we want to probably use blacklist, so like PNGs, GPGs, JPEGs, GIF files. What else is not interesting for us? Like multiple things. Or you can just gather everything, just go YOLO and later on filter out, because as I said, like sometimes you might not think about certain things that could be interesting. For example, image files could contain some sensitive information, so you might want to not blacklist. And yeah, just run this and just use a new flag and just use go.txt, and it will just use 2 instances, as you can see, because we have only couple of those, only couple of wildcard domains. All right. Let me quickly answer to the chat. All right. So yeah, like as the for the like usual recon stuff, the most of the like things what you can do with Axiom. I'm just doing those things, gathering a lot of data, and later on I'm just like filtering out, like seeing how much, like the dupe URLs. Not every time I will use this one. Sometimes I might use this massive list, like massive list, and check if there is some kind of certain endpoints, if I like discover certain type of vulnerability, or I want to check for leaks. So I could check those as well, even though not of like this is really huge list. So for research purposes, it's good still keeping those. Don't delete those files. Have a lot of data. It is like also very good to have. And other things what I might want to do apart from that is just doing some Google docking. So I will just use Google most of the time, sometimes Bing as well, but mostly the Google. So I just like using site keyword. And since only Dell and Dell technologies are in the scope, so I will just use site and just use for words like API, like login. I will search for those and manually try to manually review them. So for example, but if for example there is the target which have way better like way bigger scope, for example all TLDs are accepted, so I might want to use this like star, and in this case if we check the login, this minus sign will like disable certain websites. It will prevent to show like www websites. But yeah, since in the scope is only dell.com and their subdomains, I will use this. So, and right here what I like doing is just opening bunch of tabs, going through everything, like, and like this is not even Dell website, but if I just in case if I find the leak of the login somewhere, and I'm able to log in successfully, because brute forcing is not allowed, so I could try logging in, and even though this is not their main website, I still might want to report to them and see what their action is. In some cases, if something critical could be leaked, they will still like give you applause or just a pat on the back, or get like you can get some points, and hopefully you can get some bounties as well, even though it's not like the Dell.com website. And yeah, so basically I'll just copy those and like create some notes. So like notes txt. I'm just using cherry tree, but I don't want to open it right now, and just try to like write down those are, for example, login pages. I will just write down everything and see like different pages. So this is like how you search for login pages. You want to go through all of those and see like as many unique pages as possible. And on some of those there might be password reset functionality. I won't show it on the stream, but you can try to abuse forgot password stuff. So apart from login, you can try other stuff like admin, jobs, maybe not, administrator's guide, maybe not, or maybe try API also, that is, or API docs even. Yeah, so those are really interesting, especially if you find some Swagger instances. So you can also add another section in your notes like APIs and try to copy those. Just like showing you different examples. And for example, for the next session, what you want to do is, for example, just cat those nodes, and imagine for one session you have gathered all the API endpoints, and you decided on the next hacking session you might want to check all the API docs. So what you can do is just copy your nodes, and I'm just using the bulk open tool, so I will just paste everything and just open the links and go through all of those and check, like read some documentation. So just having some notes is really powerful way. And I'm also like running .git, which is also pretty cool. Sometimes I accidentally will discover some crits. Okay. In brute force, if you find valid credentials for login, will program accept the issue? Well, it depends on the program every time, actually. As I said, like for example, Dell might not allow brute force, but there are some programs which actually do, and especially if those credentials are very weak. So that's why I recommended to check top 100 most commonly used passwords. So if you try to use this and you are able to leak very sensitive information, definitely report it. Don't wait for permission, just do it. And yeah, most likely some programs might not accept, but it's just a part of the game. Like a lot of programs won't be the best ones, I gotta say. This is how it goes, actually. So yeah, so just doing a little bit of Google dorking is alright. So but you can like try to, I don't know, search by technology. You can try searching on GitHub what type of Google dorks you might want to use. But eventually, if you try exploring a lot of websites manually, like checking the technology stacks that they are using, like Angular, this one, what they're using, also Angular. So you might want to do some Google dorking by certain things that rely on certain technologies. So what you can do, for example, for WordPress, you want to just use maybe VP content or something. As you can see, there are some pages using WordPress, and they have even uploads. So what is also interesting for me is like I usually use in URL like this, and sometimes on WordPress websites on uploads there could be either some directory listings, or sometimes it could be leaked through the Google, and there could be some PDF files with some pretty sensitive information for sure. So in regards to sensitive information, there could be information, but it's like trade secrets, like resumes of employees, employee list, like personal contacts. This is considered sensitive information. But if you, for example, find some like PDF document that it's like a presentation guide or manual, something like that, it's not considered sensitive information. But you have to actually read what's inside that file, even though the word, like it has the word confidential, it doesn't actually mean that, like if it even has these words, like you can see PDF file. I won't open this because I accidentally could leak something, but even though if they have these words, it doesn't mean that it's actually like really sensitive, because there could be maybe just presentation for like by other company. So yeah, you can try to do like this type of dorking as well, and you can find some sensitive stuff. But sometimes in some manuals you can find the instructions how you can set up your account, and you can also find default passwords, and that's pretty interesting. If you try that default password somewhere and on some of the login endpoints which you actually collected previously here, you might find some interesting things. But as I said, like recon is like a puzzle, especially on very big targets. You might want to try different stuff until something works. Okay, I won't go deep in his, but in like those type of things. But instead of VP content, you can just try uploads, for example, and other stuff. So yeah. So yeah, that was basically it, what I wanted to show you. That's not too much information. Of course, there are way more recon. I recommend some of you might want to check my YouTube, like for different tools, different type of recon. I have on like one of the first streams, I have shown a lot of ways how you hunt on very large scope targets. Of course, there is no one good way. Maybe on certain program, the certain things will work better, while on others is not. That's why I actually recommend to spend more time on single program, because once you get to know like single program better, you will have a higher chance to scoring the bugs. So yeah, that was basically my advice to you guys. So if you don't have any questions, we can wrap this up. And as I wanted to say, this was just a short break from like XSS series. We will continue on XSS tomorrow. So if you're more interested about vulnerabilities, stuff like that, yeah, feel free to join it tomorrow as well. And okay, how many bugs have you found so far, like on estimate? It's hard to count. I actually lost the count, because it's not that simple to count all the bugs, because I hunt on multiple programs. I don't have like main program to hunt on, like, but rough estimate is like over like 500 or something, because I also hunt on not only on platforms, I hunt on private self-hosted programs, and those are also actually good and less often checked by other researchers. So like those are my favorite. But yeah, up to 500 or so. I haven't reached that level, like over 1000, but as I said, like most of my bugs are actually low or medium ones. In some rarer cases, I do score some criticals on high vulnerabilities. Like last week, I scored the one critical one on target, which pays actually really good. And yeah, that will eventually happen as you like play along and try to do like test and spend enough time on it. But of course, you have to like learn every day, read a lot of write-ups. So is bug bounty a good job in Lithuania? Yeah, by the bug bounty, it's not actually, you don't have to actually, it doesn't matter in which country you work, because it's like you can work in bug bounty from anywhere, so it's doesn't actually mean that I have to be in here to but if you mean for if it's enough that what I'm currently making to live here, yeah, for sure, it's not really an expensive country. So it's not like third world country, so it does have some expenses, especially in capital city. So, but it's enough, I guess, how much I make. I do right now, I make way more than compared to like regular pen tester type of roles. So for me, bug bounties are way better. But to reach that level, you have to like work a lot actually. So yeah, it takes time, but it's worth it. It's worth it. If you find the niche what works best for you, and if you are getting bounties constantly, it could work for you. And it doesn't matter where you live. Some people like are living in really expensive countries and still are making, they can live from that. But yeah, it takes time for sure. But I don't recommend like quitting job and starting bug bounties. That's not what I recommend. I just recommend only pursuing bug bounty career per se, only then when you have when you're currently earning every month, and it's not really consistent income, but if you have some money to live off, and it's you're like making at least X amount, but it's comfortable for you, then you should consider about it. But many people have like daily jobs, daily 9-to-5 jobs, and they're basically just doing this on the side as the side gig, and that also works. Will you ever do live application hacking? I'm decent at recon, but I know how actually approach applications, and it would be interesting to see how professionals. Yeah, that's actually the I would like to do that for sure, to teach many people, but there are rules of certain platforms like YouTube or Twitch, which if someone report my account for doing the hacking, quote unquote, even though it's ethical hacking, I could get my account suspended. Just saying, because there are a lot of accounts with on purpose not doing this. There are some stupid YouTubers who are doing live hacking, but it will be just a matter of time when their account will get suspended. So I don't want to risk that, but I have some live hacking recordings on some other places. Just check my Discord and you will understand. I just want to say that. So yeah. All right. So if no more questions, we can wrap this up. Thank you for watching. It was my